Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to me talking a little bit about going from burnout to brilliance. So, we're all going through times that some people have been describing as challenging times. I like to refer to them as times of transformation because what I truly believe is that out of the most challenging times, it's out of those times that come the greatest transformations. I'm going to share with you a little bit about what happened to me some time ago. And I was going through what I thought was the most challenging time of my life, which actually turned out to lead me on a completely different path. If you'd met me about 10 years ago, you'd have met a truly different person on many levels. For one, I was in excruciating pain. I mean, the irony of this is not lost on me. For those of you who know me, at that time, as a physician, I was seeing mostly patients with headache, neck pain, and back pain. So there I was in the office on crutches, seeing patients. I was pushing through the pain, and you should have seen a big, completely fake smile on my face. I mean, I did it for a while. In a way, I was a victim of what my friend Darla likes to call the toxic sense of self sufficiency. And it's something that our society really embraces. At that time, I'd seen about 6 different doctors, 4 internists, and 2 surgeons. I'd had 1 unnecessary surgery, and still nothing was improving. And that's when one of my well meaning patients, who I now know was the voice of Source, he said to me, "Doc, you need to go and take care of yourself." I was in the office taking care of everybody, but I needed to go take a minute to take care of myself. For the first time in the history of the world, me, the overachiever, the straight A student, the one who would always be open in office, available to see patients until 6 o'clock at night, 6 days a week, rain, shine, snow, sleet, kind of like the post office, very reliable. For the first time ever, I closed my office and I went to take care of me. I'd been putting off seeing doctor number 7 because I was feeling a little bit disillusioned, but this was my call to go, and I got in right away. It was really meant to be. And the truth is, things were bad. Things were really, really bad. And I'm sure everyone can relate to that. Everyone has had some time in their life when things look pretty bleak. Am I right? But the bigger truth is, things didn't have to get to that stage. Or maybe it had to. Maybe this was my time of transformation. Maybe this was my wake up call. And I probably wouldn't have paid attention if things didn't get really, really bad. So, all of this started when it seemed I was getting everything I ever wanted in my life. I mean, we had struggled with infertility for years. And finally, I had my baby who, guys, if you know me, you know how I feel about my kids. I love my baby so much. I was also at that time invited to join a practice that's just 20 minutes from my home. So I was able to say goodbye to my hour-long commute. And I tell the story all the time about being a first-time mom. Any of you remember what it was like being a first-time mom? I had this amazing miracle baby. So excited about him. And that little bugger, he never slept through the night, not even one time, for 18 months straight. And so I was up every 2 hours at night. And then the next day, I'd be bright eyed and bushy tailed seeing patients all day. I was at that stage, where I felt like I needed to prove my worth in my new practice. And so I was doing all the things at work, and I was also doing all the things at home. Now, in retrospect, my body wasn't functioning at peak performance under those circumstances. But of course, I had to add insult to injury. There I was nursing, right? I was pumping at work during the day. I was doing all the good mom things. And so logically, my expectation was that the baby weight was just going to start falling off. That was my expectation. But guys, I couldn't lose a pound. Even if I tried to cut it off with a knife, it was going nowhere. So I did the obvious thing. I limited calories, and I started training for the Hartford Marathon. Clearly the right choice if you want to burn out. It's not surprising then I started showing up with all these weird and wonderful symptoms that none of my doctors could make hide or hair of. I've worked in teaching hospitals before, so I know it's never a good sign when your doctor calls in all the residents and the students to come look at you. It's actually pretty bad. But my story had a happy end. Doctor number 7 pointed out to me what I knew all along, but I was kind of in denial about. I had done all the things. I had burned myself out, and now I had a dreaded autoimmune diagnosis. So I used the functional medicine tools that I would usually use to help patients to actually help myself. And out of that whole kerfuffle was born a new way of living my life. It not only changed my health and my life, but it also changed my business. A couple of things that stood out for me were that, yes, baby did need sleep training, guys. I admit that wholeheartedly now. And maybe it wasn't the right time to train for a marathon. Hey, I wasn't sleeping, so I wasn't really thinking through that one clearly. But one key thing that I needed to recognize in all of this is that I'd gotten into that habit of doing all things by myself always. And I was an overworker, I was a workaholic. And that had become a part of my identity from the time I was little, going through school, right up until even now, because it's something that I work on every day, but I realized that I needed to let go of that. I needed to learn how to receive help, and I needed to learn how to delegate without fear. I had to learn the power of having a supportive community and how much more fun and how much easier life is within the warm embrace of a collective. And so there was also one other thing I had to remember, rediscover, if you will. I had to remember that I'm always supported by Source, always, every minute of every day. So how is this landing for you? You know, a lot of teachers out there, they tell their story and they truly believe that if the solution they design in their time of woe work for them, then it's going to work for you too. But it may be my 20 years working in healthcare and research talking, but I'm a big believer that most things aren't one size fits all. Many of you probably heard of the eat right for your blood type. Well, have you ever thought of work right for your energy type? I have a quiz that I work through with clients to focus in on the subtle differences in our energy types. It's called the Find Your Power Piece quiz. In the interest of time, we won't do it here today, but I'll run through the results and you can start thinking about what kind of energy type you might be and what strategies might be best for you. So type 1 is the Power Queen Bee. Guess what, guys? That's my type. It's the kind of person who needs more rest and space and personal time than the majority. But you see, when you're rested and energized, you can outperform everybody. Your strategy is that you need to take time because society embraces always being on the go, but it's important to realize that you're different and to allow yourself to rest with no guilt. And also, alone time is super valuable for you. Then there's a type 2, the power marathoner, and the name suggests it all. You have tremendous energy. You could keep going and going without significant rest or downtime. And the only thing that can really cause you to burn out is if you're working constantly out of alignment with what it is that you truly want to be doing. Your strategy is to focus on the what. You can work really hard at what you love, and you won't feel like you're working a day in your life. Just don't forget to take the time to smell the roses. And then there's the type 3, the power magician. You guys move faster than most people around you. You feel like you're waiting sometimes for everyone else to catch up. And that can be really frustrating and energy draining. But your strategy is routine. Because you're moving so fast, you can actually burn out before you even realize it. So having a daily self-care built into your routine, that's ideal because you're the type that's always going to need more self-care than you think you do. So you're going to have to really build that time into your schedule in order to recharge. And anytime you feel like, I'm doing too much self-care, that's the time you want to do a little bit more. So I want to just tune in here to what self-care is not. It's not going to the massage and going to the spa and getting massage treatments and whatnot, even though, guys, those are great and I absolutely recommend them. But true self-care is focusing on your vibration, on your energy levels. And the easiest strategy that I have found is in these 5 steps that I call going from burnout to brilliance. Step 1 is really focusing in on what it is that you believe and embrace that we don't have to have great circumstances in order to actually feel that good, high flying vibration. You need to really truly believe in the support of the universe and live our lives from the inside out, like my friend Aina likes to say. Step two is that practicing. It's like a muscle. You have to practice feeling good more of the time. And that leads me right into step three, which are the routines that I use daily to really build that muscle of feeling good. The meditations, the gratitudes, the affirmations, the journaling, the processes, and things of that nature. All of those things, when you build that routine in, then you will be practicing in every moment of every day. And before you know it, it'll become like a part of you. I like to talk too about well care because actually your physiology does play a part in what's going on with you. Have you ever felt hangry, like you're hungry and you just snap at everybody? Probably never happened to any of you guys, but it's definitely happened to me. And then how about when you've had a really good workout and you feel so good? Anybody ever had that? That's your physiology talking too. So I invite you to really pay attention to the things that are important for your health, your food, your nutrients, your hydration, your sleep, your exercise, and of course, your brain breaks, avoiding negative people, places, and things. And if you need professional help, I definitely recommend seeking that. And then number five, it might seem a little bit out of place here, but I also recommend focusing on community, letting go of that idea that you have to do it all on your own and embracing that everything is easier with a collective of like-minded, supportive individuals. The fact that you're here in this group is an indication that you get it. You're a part of this supportive, wonderful group of women, and that's awesome. You probably already get that success is so much more likely when you have the opportunity to ask the audience or phone a friend. And in this time when social distancing is mandated, I invite you to not just make light, really easy connections, but look for opportunities for heart and soul connecting. That's my beautiful art project going from burnout to brilliance. To get back to my story, here I am 10 years later. Guys, I am completely pain free. I'm not even kidding. Even though I received an autoimmune diagnosis, I know it's not my destiny, and I have absolutely no symptoms. And what this experience has taught me is how to live my optimal life. And it's changed the mission of my business completely. My new mission is now to help female entrepreneurs live the best versions of their lives in every area: health, business, relationships, finances, you name it. And as I mentioned before, one of the things I had to learn in order to achieve my own healing is that I can't go it alone. Going it alone leads to burnout, but having the support of the community, that makes all the difference. So I've developed an outstanding community steeped in this belief, and I host at least 14 events every year focusing on this ideal. And that brings me to my invitation to you. I know a lot about a lot of things, and this might come as a complete shock to you, but I don't know everything. I could hop on the stage on all 14 of my events and talk about everything, but I'd be falling back into my old patterns. Plus, I'm pretty sure nobody wants to see that show. And so that's why I'm inviting speakers to share the stage with me at our upcoming event. So if you're a female entrepreneur who's a light worker, if you feel like you're called to share your gifts and talents and you're looking for a larger audience, and if you really truly get it, that the power of the collective is greater than the sum of its parts, then I invite you to let's have a chat and we can go deeper into obviously your power pace type, because that's the quiz we talked about at the beginning. But I'd also love to see if you're a good fit to share the stage with us. And I invite you to let's make this happen. Connecting with me is very easy. You can just go to www.chatwithdrdavia.com and hop on my calendar. So I'd like to open it up for questions, concerns, and disparaging remarks. And if you don't have any of those, then thank you so much for accommodating me, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, everybody.